I smiled in the pitch-black room. Outside, the wind screamed like a wounded animal, and my bedroom window rattled so hard I thought the glass would shatter, nailed shut from the outside by my own father. The dogs whimpered at my feet, trembling. The air was hot, thick, and dead. No lights, no fan. Just the howl of a Category 4 hurricane tearing our town apart. And I was alone. But I wasn't scared. I wasn't panicking. I was almost peaceful. Because I had a secret. A quiet, deeply buried secret. And in about 9 hours, the whole world would know exactly what my family had done to me. My name is Lena. I'm 24. I'm a freelance video editor, which means I spend my days stitching other people's stories together while mine quietly falls apart. I live at home, not because I can't afford to leave, but because somewhere along the way, I became the person who holds everything together. I pay rent. I cover the utilities. I buy groceries, walk the dogs, and handle whatever crisis lands on the kitchen table. To my parents and my younger brother Evan, I'm just the background character in their lives. The one who doesn't have a real job. The daughter who never became a doctor. What they don't know, what they've never bothered to notice, is that I'm the only reason we still have a roof over our heads. 2 years ago, my dad lost his job. The mortgage fell behind, the notices started piling up, and the panicked whispers behind closed doors became a nightly ritual. So I stepped in. I set up an automatic transfer from my own account to cover the $2,400 payment every single month. I never said a word. I just fixed it. And they never asked. They assumed some savings or severance was still floating their lives. That silence told me everything I needed to know about my place in this family. The days before the storm, the tension was already thick. The weather reports grew frantic. Mandatory evacuations were announced for our zone. Dad stood in the living room with a printed map, jabbing his finger at routes. Mom bustled around, packing overnight bags like we were heading to a weekend resort. I assumed we'd take both cars, Dad's truck, Mom's SUV, and bring the dogs. I even found a pet-friendly shelter 30 miles inland and sent the link to the family group chat. No one replied. The morning of the evacuation, Dad called a family meeting in the kitchen. Evan slouched against the counter, scrolling his phone. Mom folded a towel. I stood with my arms crossed, already sensing something ugly. The hotel won't take pets, Dad said flatly. Someone has to stay back. I blinked. What do you mean, someone has to stay back? We're talking about a Category 4 hurricane. We all go. Mom shook her head, not meeting my eyes. It's too late to find other arrangements. The animals need someone. You're good with them. Evan snorted without looking up. Lena can stay. It's not like she contributes anything that can't be paused. I felt the sting, but I kept my voice steady. You want me to ride out a hurricane alone with 2 dogs and no power? What if something happens? Dad's jaw tightened. The house is concrete block. You'll be fine. We'll be back tomorrow. It's settled. I tried to argue, to suggest a boarding kennel, a family friend, anything. But every word was batted away. Dad's tone shifted from dismissive to cold. Then he walked to the garage and came back holding a hammer and a box of galvanized nails. I watched him step outside to the side of the house where my bedroom window faced the backyard. Through the glass, I saw him press a thick piece of plywood against the frame, then raise the hammer. The first nail bit into the wood with a sharp crack. Then another. And another. He was sealing the window from the outside. I pressed my palm against the glass. He paused, meeting my eyes through the pane. Just in case you try anything, he said, his voice muffled. You're staying put. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just watched. Then Mom walked to the breaker panel in the hallway. She flipped the main switch without a word, plunging the house into a heavy silence. To protect the circuits from power surges, she muttered. But we both knew that was a lie. 40 minutes later, I stood in the dark hallway, listening to car doors slam. 2 engines started. Gravel crunched. And then they were gone. Just me, the dogs, and a storm that was already peeling shingles off the roof. But here's what they didn't know. A week earlier, after yet another dinner where I'd been told I was too sensitive and ungrateful, I had bought a few things: a compact 4G mobile hotspot with an external antenna, a portable power station with enough juice to run a laptop for days, and a tiny high-definition webcam, small enough to hide in the spine of a book. I do video work for clients every day. I know how to build a reliable, remote live streaming rig. I set it all up in my room, tested the signal, and tucked it away. I even angled the camera to capture my window and the door. I told myself it was for security. Deep down, I think I always knew I'd need it for something else. As soon as the cars disappeared, I walked calmly back to my room. I powered on the hotspot, plugged in the webcam, and opened my laptop. The power station glowed green. I created a private YouTube live stream. The title I typed made my fingers shake, but I didn't delete it. My family left me to die in a hurricane. I went live. For the first hour, I sat on the floor, stroking the dogs, and spoke quietly to the camera. I explained what had just happened. I showed the nails in the window frame, the darkness, the dead light switches. I didn't know if anyone was watching. The viewer counter ticked slowly, 2, then 8, then 15. It didn't matter. I just needed someone to see. Then the storm swallowed us whole. The wind went from a scream to a roar so loud I couldn't hear my own thoughts. The walls groaned. The windows bowed. I grabbed the dogs, dragged a mattress, and huddled in the interior bathroom with a flashlight between my teeth. My phone, I turned it off completely to preserve battery for emergencies. The live stream was running on the hidden rig, completely separate. As long as the tower stayed up and the power station held, the world could still see. I sat in the dark for hours, listening to debris smash against the house, feeling the pressure change in my ears. The dogs pressed against my legs, shaking. And in that blackness, a strange thought settled over me. If I died tonight, my family would come home to a collapsed house, a dead daughter, and a mortgage payment that would bounce in exactly 4 days. They had no idea they were entirely dependent on me. The career they mocked, the disappointment they tolerated, I was the invisible scaffold holding their lives upright. The irony was so sharp I almost laughed. That's when I smiled. Not because I was happy, because I was free. Whatever happened next, the truth was no longer locked inside this house. The storm broke just before dawn. The winds tapered to a low moan. The first gray light slipped through the cracks in the plywood. I crawled out of the bathroom, stiff and exhausted, and checked the rig. The little green light on the camera was still blinking. The hotspot battery was at 40%. The stream had survived. I hadn't watched a single second of it yet. I retrieved my phone and held the power button. The screen lit up, and immediately it began to vibrate uncontrollably. Notifications cascaded like a waterfall. 53 missed calls. Dozens of text messages piled on top of each other. The first one was from Dad, timestamped 7:30 a.m. Please. Just stop. Don't do this. Then Mom, we were wrong. Please, we're begging you. We'll do anything. Then Evan, who could rarely string together a sentence that wasn't a sarcastic jab. You're going to ruin everything. Take it down. Now. Take what down? I swiped further. A YouTube notification sat bold and impossible. Your live stream is currently live. Peak concurrent viewers, 342,000. I stared at the number until my vision blurred. 342,000 people. It had been broadcasting all night. The battery had held, the signal had held, and a massive audience had watched me sit in the dark, narrating my abandonment into a tiny lens. They'd seen my father's face through the window, heard my mother's hollow excuse, and the clip was being shared everywhere. I scrolled through the messages from family, friends, and relatives, all variations of the same command. Turn it off. You're humiliating your parents. Not a single one asked if I was alive. Not one asked if I needed help, medical attention, or a ride. They only wanted the evidence to disappear. Then I noticed a quieter notification nestled among the chaos. My banking app, payment reminder, mortgage payment of $2,400 due tomorrow. The auto transfer had not yet been triggered. I was the one who pushed the button every month. I had the money ready, as always. But now, that payment was a weapon I'd never realized I held. I looked at the live stream preview on my laptop screen, still running, still capturing my quiet, composed face. My hair was tangled, my eyes were tired, but I looked solid, unbroken. The check was effectively in my hand. And my family, huddled somewhere in a sterile hotel room, had no idea what I was about to do. They thought I was the helpless one. They were wrong. I didn't press send on the payment. I didn't even open my banking app. Instead, I sat cross-legged on the damp carpet, the dogs finally asleep against my legs, and stared at the mountain of notifications still flooding my phone. The world had watched me survive a hurricane alone in the dark. 300,000 people had heard the nails go into my window frame. And thousands more were now leaving comments that ranged from horrified to furious to deeply, achingly sad. Strangers on the internet were more worried about me than my own blood. That was the moment I made a decision. Not in a hot rush of anger, but in a cold, peaceful stillness that settled into my chest like a stone dropping into deep water. I was done. Not with shouting, not with demands, not with trying to win their love, just done. The check that I'd written mentally 1,000 times over the past 2 years was not going to clear. For the first time, I chose not to be the invisible safety net. I reopened the live stream preview on my laptop. The camera was still on me, my tired face lit by the gray storm light. The chat was moving so fast I couldn't read it, a blur of hearts, angry faces, and words of support. I leaned forward, adjusted the angle slightly, and spoke in the same calm voice I'd used all night. For those just joining, my name is Lena. About 14 hours ago, my family evacuated from this house and left me here with the pets. My father nailed my window shut from the outside. My mother cut the electricity. They drove away thinking I was just a burden to be managed. What they don't know is that I've been paying this family's mortgage for 2 years. Every month, $2,400 from my own account. I never asked for thanks. I just wanted to belong. I paused. The chat exploded. The payment is due tomorrow, and I've decided not to make it. I let that sit for a moment. Then I reached over and ended the stream. The screen went dark, and for the first time in years, I felt the weight of my own silence lift. It didn't take long for the consequences to start. My phone buzzed again, Dad's name flashing. I let it ring. Then again. Then Mom. Then Evan. I turned the ringer off and watched the call count climb. They had obviously been watching the stream before I cut it, or someone had told them. The panic in their texts grew frantic. Dad, what do you mean mortgage? You're a liar. Lena, pick up. Mom, we need to talk about this privately. You don't understand the damage you're doing. Evan, you're going to make us homeless for what? Internet clout? You're sick. Still, not one of them asked if I was okay. Not one asked if I needed a doctor, a hot meal, or a way out of a house that no longer had power. They were already home. I later found out they'd turned around at dawn, but they didn't rush back to check on my survival. They sat in a hotel parking lot, refreshing a live stream, worried about their reputation. Their calls were about loss, but not about losing me. They were losing their image, their comfort, their lie. I decided it was time to pull the final thread. I logged into my bank account and pulled up 2 years of mortgage payment history. I screenshotted every single one. Then I opened my family group chat, the same one where I'd sent the pet-friendly shelter link and been ignored, and uploaded the images. Beneath them, I typed a single message. This is what I did while you called me a disappointment. This stops now. The payment due tomorrow will not be made. I suggest you figure it out. I exited the chat and muted it completely. The immediate consequence hit within minutes. The family, still 2 hours away, apparently began calling every relative and friend they had, trying to borrow $2,400 before the grace period ended. That's how I learned just how fragile their social standing truly was. No one would help them. The same aunts and uncles who had texted me demanding I stop humiliating your parents were now being asked to open their wallets, and every single one of them refused. The live stream had gone viral. Everyone had seen the nails. They were radioactive. No one wanted to be associated with people who'd abandoned a daughter in a Category 4 hurricane. Financial consequence: that mortgage payment bounced. I received the automated notification at 2 p.m., a dry little email informing me that the withdrawal was declined due to insufficient funds. The account was empty by design. By evening, a formal notice of delinquency arrived. For a family that had lived on borrowed pride for years, it was the first real crack in the foundation. Psychological consequence. My father called me from the road, his voice a mixture of rage and desperation I'd never heard before. "You planned this," he spat. "You set up that camera, you trapped us, you've been scheming for months." I responded in a tone so even it surprised me. "I didn't nail my own window shut, Dad. I didn't tell you to abandon me. I simply stopped hiding what you made me." There was a long silence. I could hear my mother crying in the background, not for me, but for the life she was about to lose. That quiet, pitiful sound was the moment they began to understand that I wasn't coming back, not as their provider, not as their scapegoat, not as anything. When they finally arrived home, I was sitting on the front porch with the dogs, a small bag packed at my feet. My father's truck screeched into the driveway. He jumped out, red-faced, and marched toward me. Mom followed, her eyes swollen. Evan hung back by the car, arms crossed. "You fix this right now," Dad demanded. "Call the bank, say it was a mistake. We can still save this if you stop being dramatic." I stood up slowly, one hand on the dog's head. "No, I won't fix it. The payment is gone. The stream is out there. Everyone knows what you did." I looked at my mother. "You cut the power so I couldn't even open a can of food. You wanted me helpless. You wanted me to stay exactly where you put me. But I wasn't helpless. I was just patient." Mom's voice cracked. "We were scared, Lena. The storm, we panicked." "You weren't scared for me," I said, and the words came out gentle, not cruel. "You were scared of the inconvenience of me. There's a difference. I've spent 2 years paying for a home where I was treated like an unwanted guest. That ends today." My father tried a different tactic, something like bargaining. "We'll change. We'll appreciate you. You don't have to leave." I almost laughed, but I didn't. I just shook my head. "You've had 24 years to appreciate me, Dad. You had 2 years of free mortgage payments, and you still couldn't manage a single thank you. I'm not asking you to change. I'm just no longer willing to pay for the privilege of being invisible." I walked past them to the car I'd called, a rideshare that pulled up quietly at the end of the driveway. The driver loaded my bag. I coaxed the dogs into the back seat. My family stood frozen on the lawn, a portrait of disbelief. I didn't slam a door. I didn't scream. I just left. The social consequence unfolded over the following weeks. The footage of my father nailing the window circulated on every platform. Local news picked it up. My father lost his job, not because I asked anyone to retaliate, but because his company didn't want to be associated with a man who'd left his daughter to die. My mother's church circle went silent. Evan, who had once mocked me for not contributing, found himself fielding questions from friends who'd seen the clips and could no longer ignore the truth. They became a cautionary tale. The moral consequence came in the form of a letter I left behind, tucked into the same kitchen drawer where they kept the emergency cash they thought I didn't know about. I wrote it the night before I left, by flashlight, in careful handwriting. It said, "You will tell people I destroyed this family. But the truth is, I held it together until you gave me no choice but to let go." I didn't want revenge. I wanted to be seen. I wanted a family that wouldn't drive away while a hurricane barreled toward their daughter. I hope you one day understand that the walls you built around me only kept you trapped in your own selfishness. I never heard if they read it. I didn't need to. Long term, the house went into foreclosure. The mortgage that had been propped up by my silent sacrifice collapsed within 4 months. My parents moved into a small apartment on the other side of the state, and the last I heard, they were both working entry-level jobs they considered beneath them. Evan couch-surfed for a while before landing somewhere unknown. I didn't follow them into the dark. I rebuilt my own life instead, found a small rental that accepted dogs, took on new clients, and slowly realized that the quiet space I'd craved all those years had been waiting for me on the other side of goodbye. I didn't need their apology. I had something better, proof that I was never the weak one. I was the foundation they'd built their illusions on. And when I walked away, the whole structure crumbled. I still edit other people's stories for a living. But now, I'm finally the author of my own. And if someone ever asks me whether I regret doing it so publicly, I tell them the truth. I regret that I waited until a hurricane to find my voice. I regret that it took being nailed inside my own room to understand I deserve to walk free. Would you have done the same? Or would you have stayed quiet one more month, one more year, letting them drain you until there was nothing left? Because I know now that silence isn't safety. It's just a slow, quiet dying. And I chose to live.